The AP poll is out here. It's my longer video that's on YouTube talking about the AP poll, talking about every single game that happened this weekend and relates to the AP poll. So Ohio State says that number one position completely justified. I think they have been the best team in college football. They are the defending champions. No one has beaten them, so they stay at the spot. Miami jumps to that number two spot over Penn State. I think that's justified. I think Penn State they haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody. Miami has done their job. They beat up on Florida this past weekend. They've won against Notre Dame in week 1. They have showed that they deserve to be the number 2 team in the country, and they are the number 2 team in the country. Penn State sits at the number 3. LSU sits at the number 4 position. I think that's justifiable as well. I think their offense has been a little lackluster, and their offense needs to play a lot better. But I think their defense has definitely done the job, and their defense has definitely done exactly what they need to do. You look at that Georgia at number 5. Arguably still the best team inside of the SEC. Arguably still the best team that a lot of people think that can't be beat right now. Especially after they beat Tennessee last week. Dare I say it, Tennessee is a very good team. Tennessee is probably better than Texas and Texas A&M in my opinion. But we'll get to them here in a second. You get there, you got Oregon at the number 6 position. They have done enough to keep their job. They've done enough to keep that top 10 spot. Oklahoma had climbed to the top 10 after getting a win this past weekend. After beating Auburn this weekend, they show and they go into that top 10. Florida State had the weekend off. They have some comp next week. They will see if they can hold that number 8 position. Texas A&M. Florida State has Virginia, should be an easy win. Texas A&M, they are the one who has the hard game. As it has an SEC opponent in Auburn, that should be a game. I think we could see, Hugh Freeze potentially get that win there. Texas sits the number 2 position or number 10 position. Yes, they are number 10. Do I think they are a top 10 team? I do not. I think Indiana are maybe better than them. I think Tennessee are better than them. I think Texas Tech are better than them. Georgia Tech potentially are better than them. There's other teams that are better than this team. I think that defense for Florida or for Texas has definitely kept them inside of the top 10. I think Arch and that offense hasn't been great. I think when we see them play some more competition here soon, then we'll really know. But yeah, Indiana jumps to the top 15. I think this is well-deserved. They should arguably be in the top 10. They went out and obliterated Iowa last weekend. And I think, Illinois last weekend. And Illinois has another tough game this upcoming weekend against USC, who I think will beat Illinois this upcoming weekend. But Indiana stays goes to that number 11 position. Texas Tech beating Utah gets them to that number 12 position. Honestly, I think Utah are still good. I don't love them being outside of the top 25 after that tough loss against Texas Tech. I think we see the likes of there's a couple teams in his top 25 who I don't think deserve to be there. I think Illinois will drop after this upcoming week. I think TCU are a really good team, and I think they deserve to be in the top 25. Same with BYU, but we'll see what happens. Maybe some people will say Notre Dame deserve to be there, but now they have to just run the gauntlet and win the rest of the next 9 games in order to get themselves potentially in the playoffs. But Ole Miss sits there at number 13 after beating an undefeated Tulane team. Iowa State, I think they had the weekend off this past weekend. They sit at number 14. Tennessee sits at number 15. I like Tennessee. We'll see what happens with them over the future, because I think they are probably a top 3 team inside of the SEC. Dare I say it. Georgia Tech sits at 16. We know how I feel about Georgia Tech. They have one of the most coachable, complete teams inside of college football, and they have nowhere to go but up. Clemson are now out of the Clemson are now out of the ACC, so it's anyone's game to win. And currently, Georgia Tech is in my opinion, the favorite to win the ACC. Alabama, their offense has been clicking on all accords. They play Georgia this upcoming week. That will be one of the games of the year, and I'm excited to watch and see what happens there. Vanderbilt, after beating South Carolina last weekend, they sit at that number 18 position. Michigan, I think, should be ahead of Vanderbilt, and maybe even Alabama after beating Nebraska. I think we've seen that team just look a little bit better over time. But I digress. Mizzou, USC, Notre Dame sits from 20 to 22. I think we'll see USC drop some more inside of the top 20. I think Mizzou will potentially even drop out of the top 20, even out of the top 25 once they start playing, the likes of Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, Tennessee type teams. And then Illinois, I've already talked about it. They will be out of the top 25 before it's all said and done. TCU, though, they have a chance to win the Big 12. It's their time. They have a really good quarterback there who is slinging it really well. I can potentially see them win the Big 12. But let me know what y'all think about that. It's going to be an exciting week 5 in college football. But here has been your AP poll.